And this is the astrological forecast for the sign of Leo for the whole of 2020. Leo, it's not going to be a difficult year for the vast majority of you. Seriously, it's not. Some of you, yeah, you're going to get your fair share of challenges. Primarily, those of you born in July and very early August. But the vast majority of you should have a fairly stable and consistent year. But that doesn't mean it's going to be a good year. You're one of the two signs of the zodiac that I would suggest is going to have an easy time in 2020. That doesn't mean good. It means easy. And that means that all of the big attention that's happening in the world is going to be looking elsewhere, with the exception of a few of you. So for the vast majority of you, you can just get on with what you're doing without attracting any undue attention and without attracting any opposition. So for the vast majority of you, 2020 is a year where you can just get ahead in a slow, steady, gradual and consistent way. Now, there are certain specifics that I'd like to bring to your attention. Firstly, the once every year full moon in Leo. This is happening in 2020 on the 9th of February at 20 degrees 0 of Leo. This is going to particularly impact on those of you born around the 12th and 13th of February, of August. And if you're one of these people, then I do advise caution around that 9th of February full moon, because it's likely to not so much tip you over the edge as make you that little bit more impatient, impulsive, volatile, irritable, frustrated than normal. So just for a couple of days around the full moon, and this does apply to all of you, but especially those of you born around the 12th, 13th of August, that full moon on the 9th of February is a little bit provocative. The new moon in Leo on the 19th of August at 26.5 degrees of Leo is actually in a really good space for most of you. It's strongly trining Mars. It's also exactly in conjunct Saturn. So those of you whom, as we get into that new moon in Leo around the 19th of August, those of you who are going through protracted struggles with authority figures, whether it be legal, professional, parental, religious, any Leo who's finding that the more they get into August, they're struggling with people who are trying to impose authority upon them, you may be tempted around that new moon to kind of wield the metaphorical scalpel, and it is a time to actually cut free and release yourself from the burden of other people's expectations. You should find that around that 19th of March, all of you will be in receipt of a bit more physical energy than normal. That new moon is strongly trine Mars in Aries. So you're going to be in a good space to be able to make things happen and to be able to seize and take the initiative. Actions always speak louder than words. The inner planets are relatively quiet as far as you're concerned over 2020, as are most of the outer planets. Venus will be in your sign for about 3.5 weeks in 2020, from the 6th of September to the 2nd of October. Mercury will be in your sign for 2 weeks in 2020, from the 5th of August to the 20th of August. Mars isn't going to be in your sign at all during 2020. Mars will be opposite your sign over the period of the 30th of March through to the 13th of May. Mars will be in your opposite sign of Aquarius. So those of you born at the start of Leo, you're probably going to find the second, third week of March as being a little bit feisty and impatient. And those of you born at the end of Leo, you're probably going to find similarly that there's a degree of getting your buttons pushed as you get into the second week of May. But for all of you, that time of late March to mid-May can be a little bit provocative. There's going to be a lot of physical energy around all of you, at least for a few days, so use it so that it doesn't use you. Then we come to the outer planets. Now, Jupiter is spending all year, or at least up until mid-December, in Capricorn, a sign that you have very little in common with, so I'm not looking at Jupiter's effect upon you at all. Pluto is also in Capricorn all year, so Pluto's not challenging you either. And Neptune is in Pisces all year, so that's not impacting on you at all either. Saturn and Uranus are. So let's deal with Uranus first. Uranus is in Taurus all year and for the next few years. Now Taurus and Leo, they're not the best of friends. They're both as stubborn as each other. Some of you this year have been under Uranus's eye. And those of you born, perhaps, let's have a look. Those of you born around, say, the 25th through to the 29th of July, you've had a pretty crazy year in 2019. It's still going on, still continuing through into January and February and probably March as well. And then it's all going to calm down. After this, those of you born around the 29th, 30th, 31st of July and then the 1st, 2nd of August. So the last 2 or 3 days of July, the first couple of days of August, if you're one of these Leos, then this next 12 months is going to be different. I say different. Uranus is going to square your Sun. There's the need for change. Change can be disruptive, chaotic, dramatic, sudden, unpredictable. It can pull the rug from underneath your feet. Change can also be stimulating, innovative, original, exciting, fun and adventurous. It's up to you. But there's a wave of change coming in and it's tsunami-like. And you will either flow with it or you will try and resist it. And if you resist it, you will get thrown all over the place. And if you go with it, then it's going to take you into new environments, new situations, which can be a little bit daunting or scary at first, but will also be stimulating, fun and adventurous. Please do take chances. Do not take risks. The difference is that chances work more than 50% of the time, risks don't. But change is coming, and you do well to dance with it. Surf the wave of change, see where it lands, get off, start again. Don't try and control it because that won't work. Saturn spends most of the year in Capricorn, a sign that you have very little in common with and will not affect you. However, Saturn will move into early Aquarius at the end of March until the beginning of July. So over April, May, June, Saturn's going to be in the first couple of degrees of Aquarius, and this is going to impact significantly on the chance of those of you born around the 22nd, 23rd, 24th of July at the very start of Leo. And if you're born in the first 2 or 3 days of Leo, then the period of April, May, June, the second quarter of this year coming, is going to be a fairly challenging time where you will have to be selective about what you put your time and energy into, and there will be a need for a degree of pruning, weeding, streamlining and releasing and letting go of things, people, situations and environments that are past their sell-by date and have reached the end of their shelf life. This is not loss. This is clearing the deck so that when the future comes in, it doesn't have to negotiate old baggage. Thing is, Saturn will then move back into Aquarius at the end of 2020, as will Jupiter. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction will take place at 0 degrees of Aquarius, directly opposite the start of Leo, and this will happen in the middle of December. So as we get into the last 2 weeks of December, again, those of you born at the very start of Leo, 22nd, 23rd, 24th of July, you're likely to go for a brief, short, sharp test as to the decisions and actions you've taken in 2020 to see if they really stand up. But if you're born at the very start of Leo, then don't do things the easy way. Do it slowly, steadily, gradually, solidly. Do it the horrid way. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. You'll be glad you did. And this does also impact on all Leos, because in 2021, Jupiter and Saturn are going to be in Aquarius all year. And this is going to impact on all of you in a way that says you will then be tested on the roots and foundations you're putting in place in 2020 to see if they're valid or not. So 2020 is a year for staying below the radar screen. Not sticking your head above the parapet, just staying low, but at the same time doing things diligently, steadily, thoroughly, and taking on board change where it needs to come in, but not changing for change's sake. And putting in place the roots and foundations so that next year, 2021, you can then build on it in a way that's much more positive. 2020, relatively quiet year for most of you. Big thank you to those of you who have donated to me financially over this last year. Without people like you, I would not be able to keep doing stuff like this. This is my 10th year of putting out astrology videos for free into the world. I hope I'll always be able to do so, thanks to the generosity of people like you. And a big thank you to those people who have helped me with the workshops and the lectures and the tours and the gigs. Thank you. Here's to a happy 2020. Cheers, folks. Bye.